What is up, everybody? Welcome in to the Seth Floyd Show. I am Seth Floyd Hansen. We had a week off. Your boy, he took his family, trying to be a good dad, took his family to Disney World. And you know what I got for that? I'll tell you what I got for that. A ton of credit card debt, and I got sick on the trip. Your boy was walking around Disneyland on Thursday, puking his brains out.
Michael, are you okay? Did you throw up in there?
Oh, I'm just pooping. You know how I be.
But it smells like throw up in here.
Crazy world, a lot of smells.
Okay, I only puked once. Well, I puked like 3 times in one session. You know how like you puke, but you're never done. You puke, and you got one more to kind of get the last out. That happened to me. Okay, Thursday night, I was there for 4 days. One of the nights, Thursday, literally couldn't do anything. Super sick, hanging out, puking in the bushes. Eventually went to the medical center. That's what I get for trying to be a good dad and take my kids to Disney World. Disney World's awesome. Luckily, their cousins were there and they got to hang out, and it was fine. But man, it was rough. And it sucked. And you know what? I think I was puking because of how bad they played against the Bills. And thank goodness I didn't do a video. I would have puked on camera if I'd done a reaction to the Bills. I was driving to Disney World, watching it on my phone while that game was happening. I was literally in the middle of, where was I when the game happened? It was like middle of Louisiana or Mississippi or something. And I turned it off after in the third quarter. I was like, I'm just gonna follow this on my phone from now on because I can't, I'm gonna throw up in the car. Anyway, we're not talking about the Bills today. We're talking about the Bears, okay? 49ers, Bears reaction. This is a couple hours after that game finished, okay? And hallelujah. Thank goodness this team finally did something positive. The first positive thing they've done in a month. Now, probably too little too late. We'll get into that later, but it was a good game. It was a breath of fresh air to finally see some decent football. I know the Bears aren't good. I know they just fired their head coach, okay? But all teams go through this. If you're sliding, you need a game to kind of get you right, to get you back on track. And I was nervous. I was nervous because the Bears have a potent offense. They had just taken the Lions to the wire. Okay, they just mishandled that clock management at the end of the game, hence why Eberflus was fired. Caleb Williams probably should have taken more heat for not taking a timeout, whatever. But they also had 10 days off to get ready for the Niners. And then you see teams all the time when their head coach gets fired, the interim comes in, they're super juiced up, rejuvenated. And so I thought we were going to get a really good effort out of the Bears, and we didn't. Not really anyway. Definitely not in the first half. The Niners looked good. That desperate game I've been talking about, like eventually they're going to give you our back is against the walls. We have no other choice but to go out swinging. Okay, I thought it would happen against Green Bay. Thought it would happen against Buffalo. Didn't happen against either. And finally got it today. Great. Too little, too late, probably, but it was good to see. It was good to see. Just some highlights of the game. We'll go through some of that. I'm not going to get too deep into the playoff run just yet. I'll hit a couple things how I feel about it, but I'll do a playoff preview video later this week, talking about what it would take for the Niners to still make the playoffs. I've told you they're going to be in this thing going into that Lions game. I still think they will be, but it's not a guarantee, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Best game for Brock. Okay, he looked right. He looked great. The Bears, don't get it twisted. The Bears statistically have had one of the better defenses in the league. Take that for what it's worth. They're not a very good team. They haven't won a bunch of games. Okay, they're 4-8 now, 4-9. I don't know after this game, whatever they were. They only have 4 wins. Okay, but defensively, they're not the worst team, especially in their pass defense, if I understand it right. But they didn't look good today. Whatever it was that Shanahan dialed up, whatever he did different this week, he needs to keep doing it because they look different today. There was rumors that Gary Kubiak, and I don't think they're rumors, I think they're like confirmed sightings. Gary Kubiak was hanging out at practice. Probably, most likely Kyle Shanahan came out or hit up Gary Kubiak, invited him to come out to practice, hang out, just talk with him, give him some just like fresh eyes, like what do you see? What can I got to do something to jumpstart this thing. And I don't know if that was it, but it could be. It worked from the jump. Okay, from the jump, they looked good. The play calling was creative. It was smart. It was aggressive. I have a couple things I need him to throw out of the playbook. Okay, but for the most part, the offense was just clicking. First 2 drives, touchdowns. Okay, so I think first 3 drives were touchdowns. The 4th drive should have been a touchdown. Stupid holding call on Ricky Pearsall, which didn't affect the play, but it is what it is. We got a field goal instead. Brock Purdy, best game of the year. 20 of 25, 325 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's 80% completion percentage. His quarterback rating, whatever, is probably 155 something. I didn't write it down. 163 something, whatever the perfect is. Was great. Brock looked very good. Which is good, because I've definitely had my opinion changed a little bit about Brock. I'm not saying he shouldn't get paid. I'm not saying he shouldn't be the quarterback. But my thoughts on what his ceiling are, or not ceiling are, what his ceiling is, why can't I talk, has definitely changed. Not for the better. He's very good. I still think he's a top 10 quarterback, but I think he's closer to 10 than he is to like 5. I know statistically it doesn't say that. Maybe this has just been the year from hell. I hope that's the case. I hope the injuries and just the fatigue of the offseason and the drama, I think the story hasn't completely been written about Brock yet, but you know enough that you need to pay him. I hope it's not $60 million a year. I hope Brock is like a hometown discount kind of guy, which if anyone was going to be a hometown discount kind of guy, I think it would be Brock. But I think you put yourself in a real bind if you're going to commit $60 million a year to him. We'll see. That's kind of down the road. I still love Brock. He's the quarterback. Whether I like him or not, he's going to be the quarterback for the next 5 to 10 years. Most 49er fans think, I just kicked the camera. Why do I do that? And it was shaking. Sorry about that. Most 49er fans think he's going to be there 8+ years. I think it's not out of the realm of possibility he plays 5 years and then they try to move on, just like they did with Jimmy Garoppolo. But he's definitely better than Jimmy. So whatever. I don't mean to go off on a tangent. Brock looked very good. 49er fans needed to see that. George Kittle, 6 catches, 151 yards. First time I've seen a screen pass called to George Kittle in like months. And look what happens. Takes it for 30+ yards. He had like 4 catches of 30+ yards or 3 catches of 30+ yards. Dude's an animal. Force feed it to him. You're in a situation now, no Christian McCaffrey, no Brandon Ayuk. You got young guys playing. You force feed it, Kyle. Don't just play within the system and just like, well, if he's open, like whatever. Like I need to see concentrated efforts to get it to him. He's your one consistent playmaker on offense right now. Okay, he's just done it all season. Keep getting him the ball. Guerendo looked great, hurt his foot. This team, no breaks will be caught by this 2024 49ers team. Isaac Guerendo looked really good. He looks like a ball player. He looks like an NFL running back. Dare I say, could he be a starter? Do you trust, tell me in the comments, do you trust Isaac Guerendo with 15 to 20 carries a game? I think I do. I think so. He hasn't done it a bunch, but he's got a burst. You can tell he's starting to see the holes better. That is the most important thing in this offense. Can you see the cutback lane? Or not even a cut back, but when you're stretching it, can you see where the seam is, where the crease is? Put your foot in the ground and get north and south and hit the hole. Because CMC last year did it better than anyone's ever done it on the face of the earth. It's why the Niners were picking up 5 to 7 yards a pop. If you had 10 carries to start the game, I would put money on it. I would put my mortgage on it that like 8 of them went for at least 6 or 7 yards. And some of that's the offensive line, but the majority of that is CMC just seeing the crease and getting north and south. If you can't see the crease, you can't play in this offense. And the first time Isaac Guerendo had chances in this season, I think it was the Seattle game, which I know he iced it at the end of that game, but he came in after Mason got hurt, and I was like, dude, this guy does not have it. He runs tall. He's going to get broken in half, and he doesn't see the cut, and he kind of hits people with his chest. He did not have it, but you can see how his carries, he's a weird situation where he does not have that many carries under his belt. In college, he wasn't even a starter in college, but you could see the talent, you could see the burst, the explosion, and as he's gotten more carries, he's gotten more comfortable. He sees it more. I expect Guerendo to only get better, except Kyle Shanahan just said it looks like a foot sprain. Now the x-rays came back negative. That means nothing was broken, but it's probably some type of foot sprain. Bad news, 49er fans, unless he wakes up and has a miracle performed on him somehow, some way. I don't know if you're religious. I am religious. I think those things really happen. Miracle healings. I'm not sure that this will be that case though. With the Niners play on Thursday night, he ain't playing with a foot sprain if it's Thursday night. Okay, if it's an actual foot sprain, he ain't playing. Unless he wakes up tomorrow and they were like, and he's just like, oh man, it feels fine. It's like a little sore, but I actually feel fine, and they were just wrong. But if it is a legit foot sprain, he's not playing. He's not playing, which is a cause for concern, because you're going Patrick Taylor, who I like. I like Patrick Taylor. He's a guy I do not want to give the ball 15 times a game. His Guerrero is a guy that can break it 10 plus. You saw it a couple times today. Patrick Taylor is not super explosive, but I trust him to see the hole. I think he can pick you up 3 to 5 yards when you need it. But man, your run game is going to take a hit. We'll see. Isaac Kanda, whoever they signed to the practice squad off the Jets, he might get some carries this week. Keyshawn Vaughn is more likely to get some carries this week with Patrick Taylor. You're going to be in some problems, though. Which takes me to my concerns, okay? No Isaac Guerrero this week. I'm claiming it. I hope I'm wrong. I don't think he's going to play. That means you're going to get 5 to 8 carries from Deebo Samuel. And guys, we have got to get off this Deebo Samuel, the way he's being used in the offense right now. Here's the thing with Deebo. The majority of his runs are like outside zone plays. And I don't think he has the same step he has. And that's not a controversial statement. I'm sure every 49er fan who's watching what I'm watching will say the same thing. He does not have the same burst and twitchiness that he had definitely in 2021, but even last year he still had it. This year has not looked the same. Every single time he gets an outside zone play, okay, he is being tackled for a loss. We had another play, it was like a swing pass to him out of the backfield, tackled for a loss. I'm done with it. You have too many negative plays. Stop it with that. Stop it with that, please. Okay? You need to, if you're going to run him, what Deebo needs to do if you're going to run him, it needs to be under center. You need Kyle Juszczyk at fullback, and it needs to be between the tackles. And as Deebo, you're a physical runner. You don't get open very much anymore. We're not really throwing you the ball very much anymore, but you can still be a physical running back when we need you. So we're going to do these Kyle Juszczyks in front of you, just lead counter plays where you're getting downhill, bat out of hell, get me 5 yards. Those kind of runs I can get on board with. And those are the kind of runs that Deebo can still do, I believe. But these outside zone plays, he doesn't have anymore. And I hope Kyle is willing to admit that and just make a change. I need to see that gone out of the offense. It needs to replace all of those plays with screen plays to Kittle and screen plays to Guerrero whenever he gets back. Or even Patrick Taylor. Give me a Patrick Taylor screen this week. Give me a Kyle Juszczyk block, chip screen to him. Please give me that. I'm a Kyle Juszczyk fan. I'm a screen guy, screen fan, okay? The other concern I had on offense, where has Ricky Pearsall been? He had a couple really strong games and it looked great, and then all of a sudden nothing. He had 1 catch, okay? And then he had the miscommunication with Purdy that might have been a touchdown. Based off Purdy's reaction, I think that was on Pearsall. Pearsall's coming and he's bringing it across the field. And I think Purdy wanted him to kind of get more vertical north and south. And that's where he threw it. I think because there was no safety behind. And so he just wanted to lead him upfield. Regardless, like that would have changed things and that would have been a huge play. Didn't happen though. Where has he been? And why is your first round pick not more focal point of the offense? Now last week, I don't blame you. The weather, things got weird real quick. CMC being done for the year, like all that kind of stuff, that's a problem. I get it, some of that. But nothing against Green Bay and nothing against Seattle the game before. Like he has gone MIA. And that worries me. He's your first round pick. You need this guy. Because I think Deebo's going to be on the team next year, but you can't make him a focal point anymore. It doesn't feel like. Just crazy. He was just drafted in 2019. It's only 2024, but he just doesn't feel like he can be a focal point. Or you have to completely change what you're having him do because what he's doing isn't working. So you need a guy like Pearsall to step up, and you just haven't seen it. That worries me. The second half defense, the first half defense was amazing. This is my last concern. The first half defense was amazing. Just, what do they have, 4 total yards? The defense gets credit for that. I'm willing to bet that is more of the Bears are incapable and they're coached by a bunch of incapable people. that's probably why it looks so bad, because when they came out in the second half, they clearly made some adjustments. Now, I don't know, they had a 24-point lead. I don't know if Nick Sorensen was already just really playing back, but I don't get it, guys. It was one of two things. Nick Sorensen called off the dogs a little bit and was like, look, we're up 24 points. They can't stop our offense. The last thing we want is a big play over the top. Fine, okay? But you have guys running completely free. You can keep everything in front of you without giving guys 8 to 10 yards of separation on everything over the middle, because that's what it looked like in the third quarter. Everything over the middle was wide open separation. I'm not real sure what it was. I obviously haven't looked at the L22. Not sure what it was. Either that's what he did, or the Bears reviewed the film on the tablet really quick. They saw it and they made some adjustments, and there's just that big of a hole in the 49ers defense, which wouldn't be surprising based on how they've played these last 3 weeks before today. Regardless, the second half defense was worrisome. And if Caleb Williams doesn't fumble on that weird tuck rule kind of thing, I don't think they would have lost, because I don't think the Bears could have stopped the offense. But that game would have been closer, and the defensive performance wouldn't have looked as good. Okay, I'm happy for Nick Sorensen. I don't think he's the guy. I think everyone. This is rash. This is like knee-jerk reaction, 49er fan. Outside of Chris Kasurik as the defensive line coach, I just hope everybody's gone on the defensive staff, and they just or all the main guys. And if you want some of these young assistants to stick around because they're your guys, like, fine. But they need fresh blood in there. They need fresh blood. I hope it's Robert Saleh. I hope it's something. I just have not been impressed with Nick Sorensen, and I hope Shanahan. I don't know what the answer is. That's super tough. Dealing with relationships with people, and if you don't feel like you have it, listen, I guess I'll say this: if Robert Saleh, if you get word somehow, man, I kicked the camera again. What the heck? Why am I so dumb? If you get word that Robert Saleh somehow back channels, or if he just calls you and is like, hey, I'm interested in that job, if it becomes open, you have to do it. You have to. He was so good. And you work well with him. He brings the passion. He brings the fire. Now, I don't want you to just fire Nick Sorensen without a game plan, without somebody to replace him. But Robert Saleh is a top of my list. I imagine Mike Vrabel is going to be a head coach somewhere. But if you get Mike Vrabel to come out, yeah, that'd be great. I don't know if him and Kyle Shanahan will work well together. Probably butt heads, super strong personalities. But he's a guy I'd be interested in. The defense still worries me. Now, they had 7 sacks today against probably the worst offensive line in the league, but that's what you should do against the worst offensive line in the league. I think Leonard Floyd had 2. Yetur Gross-Matos had 3 coming out party. Love it. Anyway, so there were some good things, but still not what you want it to be. I like seeing the young guys play. It's kind of my last thing that I'll say about in this video. You see a lot of these young guys playing. You see, like Renardo Green made a good play. Malik Mustafa's all over the field. D. Winters has made some plays. He flies around. He's a good athlete. He dropped an interception on the second drive for the Bears, or the first drive, right through his hands. So maybe his ball skills aren't the best, but if that's Fred, I would bet money that's a pick. Yeah, D. Winters looks good. You got young guys playing, and that's kind of all you can hope for at this point in the season. 49er fans, I will do a video on Tuesday. It'll come out like Wednesday or Thursday morning, whatever, previewing the 49ers-Rams game. And I'll also talk about what does it take for the 49ers to make the playoffs. But I'm just going to tell you here, without getting into specifics, like, do not get your hopes up. Now, I guess I shouldn't be that like Scrooge about it, that Grinch about it, because you always can hope. Crazier things have happened, and there's a few avenues I've already been kind of going through of how they could get this done, but none of them are likely. And they all start with the 49ers winning every single one of their games. What kills you after that is the Rams beat the Bills today, which looks really good. Rams defense can't stop anybody. They had a huge punt block for a touchdown. Nobody plays perfect football all year. Bills had won 7 in a row. They were due to lose. The Rams fighting for their playoff lives. It's not the most shocking thing, just disappointing. I'm disappointed the Niners had to play them in Buffalo in a snowstorm. I don't think we would have beat them anyway. It's disappointing that happening against the Rams. That hurts. That hurts you big time as far as your playoff chances go. I'll explain why. I'll leave you with this little teaser. I think if I had to put money on it right now, the Rams are going to win this division over the Seahawks and over the 49ers. I will break all of that down in my next video, but it all starts with the 49ers. They have to win out. You got to beat the Rams, who look like one of the better teams right now. And then somehow you have to beat the Lions. The other two games I feel like are very winnable. I think Miami is very beatable. I know they're fighting for their playoff lives. I do not believe in them. You're going to have 10 days to get ready for them. So I think you should be able to beat them. I think Kyle Shanahan will own Mike McDaniel. I think the Cardinals are lifeless and a joke and an embarrassment. That's kind of harsh. But they led the division for a couple of weeks, and now they look like they're not even putting up a fight. They didn't put up a fight against Seattle. They didn't put up a fight. They played the Vikings last week, and they did put up a fight against them, but lost. And then they just kind of farted around today against Seattle. Missed a 27-yard field goal to make it a 6-point game that would have put them in contention to beat them. Seattle winning also hurts you, but they have a tough schedule left, and I'll break all that down next week. Your last hope is something with Washington, the Commanders, but I'll break all that down, guys. So I say all that to say this: if you're like me, if you're going to be as realistic as possible, just enjoy these last few games, watching the young guys play, and try to build some momentum going into next season. Because that's real. The 49ers had terrible momentum all through the playoffs. They played better in the Super Bowl last year, still came away with a loss. And it just felt like the hangover of Christmas Day onward, those remaining games where we never looked the same again, bled into this season. I would love to see some really strong wins finishing this year, like wins like today, even if you don't win out. But let's say you win, you have 4 games left. If you win 3 of the next 4, that would be amazing. If you win 2 of the next 4, I hope you don't drop to the Rams. But if you pound the Dolphins into oblivion and beat them by 4 touchdowns, and you beat the Cardinals by 4 touchdowns, like, you can feel good going into next year and feel like maybe we shook off some of that bad juju that's been following us all year. I hate the division. I hate the division team. I hate the division. I hate the Rams. I hate the Cardinals. And good golly, I hate the Seahawks. Unfortunately, we lost that game to the Seahawks. You have a chance to beat the Rams. You have a chance to beat the Cardinals and really just kind of ruin their seasons. That's what I'm rooting for at this point, and I hope they get it done this Thursday. I'll have a video previewing that coming out. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Sorry I was gone last week. Sorry I was puking my brains out at Disney World. Glad to be back. Glad the Niners got a win. I can listen to some podcasts, some sports talk radio, but it's a good day. Anytime the Niners win, it's a good day. We can be happy about it. We can celebrate. Go do that. Go celebrate, and look for my next video. Like this video. Subscribe to the channel. I'm out.